for joining me. This is the Deep on the Delta weekly fishing report for the week of October 19th. And this is going to be a quick one because it's kind of been like a little bit of Groundhog Day. Everything is just kind of rolling along from that late summer. It's fall. We're seeing fall weather conditions, although we're still seeing some 90-degree temperatures now. It's going to drop down in the 70s again. And you know, nights are cooling off. Water temperatures out here holding pretty steady, right around, you know, high 60s, right into 70 degrees. But not a lot going on for river business, so we'll start off with the stripers, and then we'll get into the largemouth bass, and we'll let you guys get out there and start catching some fish. Stripers are filtering into more and more into the central delta, and this week, I think one of the changes that I've seen is a lot of my bass fishing friends who have been fishing top waters, paddle tails and things like that, they're catching more and more stripers here in the central delta. So I think there's more fish trickling into the central delta. Still a lot of fish out in the bay. My son Nate has been up on the Napa River, and still just a ton of fish up there, and usually those fish stay in there, and you know, they'll start trickling down in here. So there's going to be more fish coming. Jeff Suhu has been catching fish. He reported a little decline for him this week, but he's still catching fish out there. The guys that are fishing largemouth bass out here in the last week, especially on top waters with walkers and spook type baits, they're starting to catch more and more fish. They're not big fish, but they're legal size fish, which is a jump from the last couple weeks where everyone was catching, you know, really kind of undersized fish. So 18 to 22 inches is more of an average now, and there's more and more people catching fish out here. Not a lot of sea lions out here. I suspect as those fish trickle in, we're going to start to see more and more sea lions out here. With that, I will also say that I know there's people going out of Brandon Island. It's been crowded out there, and they're catching fish trolling. There are days when it's been better than others. I haven't got a lot of reports from the trollers, but they're out there, and you just got to go out and be out there on the right day. You'll catch stripers. So if you're a striper guy, now's the time to be out there, and you should be out there catching a few fish. Let's get it right in, largemouth bass. One tournament last week, the NorCal Bass Club had a tournament Saturday, 21 boats. 19 pounds was first, 18 second, and 17 was third. Didn't get the big fish on that, but I know middle of the pack for those 21 boats was right around 10, 11, 12 pounds. And there was some struggling going on just to pick up a few fish for a lot of the guys trying to get a few points out there. So kind of almost steady what we've seen throughout the year here. You know, a few guys get into fish and they get some decent bags. 19, 18, 17 pounds, those are decent bags. Not delta weights normally, but this is 2023. And, you know, that's what it's bringing. Those are good bags. So with that, I'm just going to read a few of the reports that I've gotten, then I'll let you know what I'm doing out here. And it's pretty much junk fishing, which isn't bad because people are catching fish at all tides on all baits out here. Keith from Free Spooling was out at Rivers Inn. He got his fish on an outgoing tide. He's reporting 1 to 3 feet of visibility, 67 to 70 degree water temps. He quit counting after about 25 fish, a lot of small fish, was picking them up on a chopo. After that, it was wacky worms. He tried a glide bait, spinner bait, chatter bait, 0 on that stuff. So that was Free Spooling Keith from out at where was he? Rivers Inn. Hook setter, he's been going out. He's been finding a good bite. He's catching his fish at low tide. Whopper plopper, so whopper plopper type baits are working out there. He's getting them on frog, getting them on punch, he's getting them on drop shot. A lot of people are talking about either catching, the frog bite is not great, but they're catching some bigger fish on frogs, especially early in the morning or evening. Had one guy was talking about lazy M. He was out there from 6:30 to about 1:15, no topwater bite at all. But then as the tide changed or whatever happened on that particular day, the afternoon, he had great topwater bite. His bite was on spooks. Morning he was getting fish on underspins and T-rigs. I'll read one more for you before I get in and let you know what I was finding. Out at Holland Track, Sedley was out there. Same old for Sedley. He's getting his fish on jerk baits, square bills, bubble walkers. He lost a giant on a frog. I did get a report from Rob that one thing is pretty consistent is there's a lot of stripers out in Discovery Bay. You get toward those back bays in there, there's some pretty good fish. Most of them are in that 20 to 22 inch size, but there are some good fish boiling. A lot of guys are catching them on top water up there. So with that, what have I done? I've seen a slight decrease for the Central Delta for me. I went out a couple days early. I was a couple days earlier in the week. I was getting some decent fish. Decent meaning just keeper size fish, a lot of undersized fish, and I was not getting any of the fish in that 3 to 4 pound class. I wasn't getting any big bites. So I decided that I would head up to Liberty. I went out of, where'd I go out of? Hogback. My partner Chris and I went up there, a longtime fishing friend of mine, Chris, and you know, we had steady action all day. We ended up with about, I'd say, 16 to 18 pound largemouth bag. It was because we had a couple of nice kicker fish. Chris got one about 5, I had one about 4.5, and then we rounded that off with some 3 pound fish. We caught those on topwaters and spinner baits, a few fish on worms, but out of the 20 to 25 fish we got, I'd have to say at least 15 of them were undersized. We caught a few keepers, and then we had, you know, about 7 or 8 fish that were really nice quality fish that put us up in that you know, nice 16, 17, 18 pound class for a nice bag. Fish bit all day. There was a moon phase between 12 and 2 o'clock. That's when we caught most of our fish. That was a bite window, but we caught fish pretty steadily. Didn't matter if it was the last of the outgoing or the first part of the incoming. That's the tides we fished. We caught 7 or 8 stripers. Most of our stripers were on topwater walking baits. We got a couple of nice ones in that 23 to 25 inch range. I think all of our stripers were keepers or right there at keeper size. We were fishing the inlets. We were fishing flats. We missed a lot of nice fish on topwater bites around there, and I don't know that area real well. So I just kind of was running around to places, you know, that had moving water, flats that I could find. Like I said, do I have the special secret to fish those inlets up that are flowing in and out of Liberty? No, we just kind of moved around and we caught fish pretty much everywhere we went. So no big schools that we found of stripers, but they were spread out and they're all over. Again, I think we only saw one sea lion up there all day, couple guys fishing bass, couple guys fishing stripers, not a lot going on up around Liberty. I was able to talk to Alan Fong. Alan has been concentrating in that area on largemouth. He's been doing really well. And you know, the striper fishing for him has been on the back burner for the last week or so. But all in all, the fish are out there biting, and we're going to have steady weather. As long as we have that, we're just hoping for this slow burn into winter, and we can just keep catching fish out there. And if I'm going to be honest with you, the reports that I've been talking to people and getting, everybody's happy with what they're catching, but they're not jumping for joy about, you know, great fishing. So it's been one of those years. We're catching fish now. Who knows how long it's going to last? And it really is the time to get out there. It is beautiful weather. You know, the pressure is low out here, and you can catch fish. So go on out. I'm sure you'll be happy when you come home. You might not be turning cartwheels as you're coming down your driveway, but it's going to be fun fishing, and you can catch multi-species this time of year. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Good luck until then.